Hello everyone, welcome back to Everlight Motivation. Today we're bringing you a story about a young man who discovered that the secret to success isn't talent, luck, or even intelligence. It's something far simpler and far more powerful. It's the story of how hard work, done with purpose and patience, can transform an ordinary life into something extraordinary. Along the way, we'll also learn some new words and how to use them in everyday sentences to help you grow your English in a natural and enjoyable way. So, stay with us till the end. Once, in a bustling city filled with noise and ambition, there lived a young man named Lucas. Lucas was 20 years old. He had just graduated from high school and, like most young people his age, he had big dreams. He wanted to become a successful entrepreneur, someone who builds businesses and creates opportunities for others. But here was the problem. Lucas didn't have connections. He didn't come from a wealthy family. He didn't have anyone handing him opportunities on a silver platter. What he did have was a burning desire and two willing hands. One evening, Lucas was sitting at a small wooden table in his family's modest apartment. The lights flickered slightly. A cup of cold tea sat beside his notebook. He was staring at a list of goals he had written for himself months ago. He hadn't crossed off a single one. His older sister, Maya, walked in from a long shift at the bakery where she worked. Her apron was dusted with flour. Her feet were tired. But her eyes were always warm. She noticed Lucas sitting there, his head resting on his hand, looking defeated. "What's going on in that head of yours?" she asked, pulling up a chair beside him. Lucas sighed and gestured toward his notebook. "I've been trying, Maya," he said quietly. "I've watched every video. I've read every article. I've written down every plan. But nothing is moving. Nothing is working. Maybe I'm just not built for this." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she stood up and said gently, "Come with me tomorrow morning. Early. Before sunrise." Lucas frowned. "Where are we going?" She smiled. "You'll see." The next morning, Lucas woke up in the cold, dark hours before dawn. Maya was already dressed and ready. Together they walked to the bakery, the same one where Maya had worked for 3 years. When they arrived, the owner, an older man named Mr. George, was already inside. His sleeves were rolled up. His hands were deep in dough. The ovens glowed with heat. Mr. George looked up when they entered and nodded with a calm smile. "So this is the young man you told me about?" he said to Maya. Then he looked at Lucas. "Come, let me show you something." He led Lucas to a large window at the back of the bakery that looked out over the street. The city was still asleep. Streetlights hummed. A stray cat wandered between parked cars. "Every morning," Mr. George began, his voice slow and steady, "I am here at 4 o'clock. Not because someone forces me. Not because I have no choice. But because I know that every hour I put in before the world wakes up is an hour the world cannot take from me." Lucas listened carefully. "You see," Mr. George continued, "when I started this bakery I had nothing. No money. No experience. I didn't even know how to bake properly." He chuckled softly. "My first loaves of bread were so bad even the pigeons refused to eat them." Lucas smiled a little. "But I showed up. Every single day. I made mistakes and I learned. I failed batches and I tried again. I had days when I wanted to quit. Believe me, many days." He paused. "But I never stopped showing up." Mr. George walked Lucas to a shelf lined with photographs. Awards. Newspaper clippings. Letters from customers. "This didn't come from talent," he said simply. "It came from repetition. From refusal to give up. From doing the hard work on the days when no one was watching, especially on those days." Lucas felt something shift inside him. A quiet but powerful feeling, like something dormant had just woken up. He looked at his sister. She gave him a small nod. "So what do I do?" Lucas asked Mr. George. "How do I start?" The old baker placed a flour-dusted hand on Lucas's shoulder and said, "You start today. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Today. You pick one thing. And you work on it, hard, every single day. Even when it's boring. Even when it's slow. Especially then." Lucas walked home that morning with something new in his chest. Not a plan. Not a strategy. A decision. He opened his notebook. He crossed out all the complicated goals and wrote just one sentence at the top of a fresh page. "I will show up every day and do the work." And that's exactly what he did. He started a small online business, handmade leather goods that he learned to craft from free tutorials. His first attempts were rough and uneven. His first 5 products didn't sell. His first month earned him almost nothing. But he didn't stop. He woke up early. He stayed up late. He studied what worked. He adjusted what didn't. He asked questions, made improvements, and showed up again the next morning. 6 months later, his little shop had its first real breakthrough. A local boutique ordered 30 of his wallets. A year later, he was supplying 3 stores. 2 years later, Lucas had his own small workshop, 2 part-time employees, and a growing reputation for craftsmanship that customers trusted. He hadn't changed his talent overnight. He hadn't received a miracle. He had simply refused to let hard work be optional. One afternoon, Lucas returned to the bakery. Mr. George was behind the counter, as always, his hands busy, his face content. Lucas walked in, placed a small leather card holder on the counter, his best work, and slid it toward the old baker. "A thank you gift," Lucas said. "For that morning." Mr. George picked it up, turned it over in his hands and smiled slowly. "Good stitching," he said. "Clean edges. You worked hard on this." "Every day," Lucas replied. The old man nodded with quiet pride. "Then you already know the secret." Friends, the story of Lucas teaches us something we all need to hear again and again. Success is not hiding behind talent. It is not waiting for the perfect moment. It is not reserved for the gifted few. Success is built, brick by brick, through consistent, courageous, unglamorous hard work. There will be mornings when you don't feel like starting. There will be weeks when progress feels invisible. There will be voices, inside your head and outside, that whisper, maybe this isn't for you. On those days, show up anyway. Do the work anyway. Because every hour of sincere effort is building something, even when you cannot see it yet. The world rewards those who keep going. Today we learn new words and ideas through Lucas's journey. Words like entrepreneur, dormant, repetition, and craftsmanship. All powerful words you can now use in your own English conversations. Remember, learning English, just like building success, grows stronger with daily practice. So keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing. If this story inspired you today, please give it a like, leave a comment below, and share it with someone who needs a little extra motivation right now. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next story, where we'll continue learning and growing together.